All right, folks. So today we're going to talk a little bit about this new to me radio, and it's also a new radio. It's the Yaesu FTX-1 or field version. And I was fortunate enough to get my hands on one of these, so I'm pretty excited to be playing around with it. I want to talk a little bit about power options that we have for this radio, because there's a couple things that came up when I was reading through the manual, and I wanted to make sure that I understood it, and I wanted to pass any information along. Now, one of the things is that this radio does come with this cable. And then you can see it has this barrel jack connector. I'm a little bit uncertain what size it is because I didn't read that part of the manual. It has two fuses, and then you can put whatever kind of adapter or connector that you want on here. I'll probably do power poles, and I'll probably trim some of this wire off to make it a little bit shorter and a little bit more compact to carry around. Anyhow, it plugs into the back of the radio, and we're going to take a look at that. But the main thing that I wanted to cover today, and see if I can do this easily, is on the back we have this battery that comes with it. Now this battery will, let's see if I can get this to focus. This battery will charge when connected to a 12-volt battery, but it does caution you that if the battery is not 13.8 volts or higher, that you may have a little bit of problem charging your battery to full capacity. It does have this rubber grommet that comes off right here. Let me see if I can get this adjusted so you can see the back of the radio. And you can plug in right here, and I just did some setting. I don't know if you heard that or not. But this is where your power connection plugs in. Now, I do wish this little rubber grommet had some sort of keeper on it like this one, where it stays attached, because I am 100% the kind of guy that's going to lose that. But anyhow, I wanted to cover that, and I also wanted to cover a couple of other things. Oh, here we go, pressing buttons again. There's a USB port here. When the battery is attached, you can charge the battery through using this USB port. It's USB-C. We'll take a look at that. You can use the radio while you're doing this, but if you wanted to do digital modes, I believe that your sound card interface also comes to this, and that would be a little bit of a challenge because you can't do both at the same time. The battery itself also has a charging port on it, but we'll take this off and we'll take a look at it. Let me go ahead and turn this off before I do anything I might regret. And let's take a look at some of this other stuff that I have here. Okay, what I want to talk about now is this power station. It bills itself as a portable power station, and I have no reason to believe it's not. It is about 2.4 pounds, so it's a little bit heavy, and if you decide to take this portable when operating, that might be a little bit of a challenge if you are going to go deep in the woods or do some soda where you might have to do some serious hiking. But if not, you could use this on a park bench or something. If you go on vacation and take this radio with you, this might be a good solution. As I mentioned, there's some special requirements around charging the battery that comes with this. And I was looking for a solution that would be helpful. Like the rest of you, I always love battery and charging solutions. And I just so happened to get this email right when I was looking at that and wondering what I was going to do. And this charging station seemed like it was going to be a pretty good option for me. I almost forgot. When I was contacted by the fine folks from Aferiy, I think that's how you say that, they offered me this power station free of charge in exchange for this video review. So what that means is that if you're the type of person who is triggered by sponsored content on YouTube, I suggest you go watch some cat videos. If you take a look on the front of it, it has an in and out with 45 watts max, and that's perfect for what we're going to be doing. Also, it has an in and out USB on a retractable cord here. And you can see that that has an in and out of 100 watts max. And what's really cool is they sell a 30-watt solar panel that you can purchase with this device, and you just plug this baby in, and this plugs into their solar panel solution. Now, you can use an aftermarket solution, but I believe there's another adapter that you need to get there. So that's extra cool. It also has a USB-A port here. We'll take a look at the specifications of this, and we'll hook it up to the radio and do some charging and see if it's a good solution or not. So let's talk a little bit about why some of this might be a little bit of a challenge. Here is from the Yaesu operations manual, and they show how you can connect the battery. It's pretty simple. We'll take a look at that. This battery is called the SBR-52L1. I'll never remember that. But down here you can see it can be charged a couple of different ways. When it's attached to the FTX-1, you can charge it via that 13.8 volt 5 amp hour supply here, Or you can use a PD charger here, and I don't know why I have this little thing on the bottom of the screen, but it's driving me crazy. And it says USB PD 45 watts, 15 volts. And if it's attached, you want to charge it on the side of the radio like I showed earlier. If it's a discharge, you're charging it by itself, there is a outlet here. We'll take a look at that on the battery. It says USB PD 45 watts, 15 volts, 2 amps. And that's what made me say, I'm going to have to come up with a little bit of a different solution than what I currently have in my toolkit. Down here it says charging red, so it's a red solid light. It blinks if there's a charge error, and if the light is off when connected, it's charge complete. I would love to have that been a green light, but it's not. So it is a little confusing. This is another excerpt from the manual. It says, do not attach the SBR52L1 to the FTX-1 while charging via USB PD. Doing so may damage the battery. That means if you're charging the battery directly, not indirectly through the radio. If the external power supply voltage is below 13.8 volts, the battery may not fully be charged. We talked about that. To charge via the USB Type-C terminal, a commercially available USB PD power delivery charger, output 45 watts or more, DC 15 volts, 2 amp output compatible, and a Type-C compatible with PD cable with PD are required. It charges in about 7 hours, and that's a long time. But it is what it is. Depending upon the battery status, the charging time might be increased. And then it says it gives you 9 hours of standalone operating time with 6 watts on HF bands SSB. That will change if you're doing something like digital modes. An 8-hour operating time with 6 watts on VHF UHF bands with FM are available with a duty cycle of 66 and 48. So the bottom box is also important. The relationship between the connected power source, charging, and transmission reception when connected to USB PD. So when the battery is installed, it will receive and transmit when you're charging with the PD cable through the radio. When you do transmit, it says it stops charging the battery. So it stops when sending right over here. When the SBR52L1 is not installed, and you have the PD connected to the USB PD connected to the radio, you can receive, you just can't transmit. Then it says when connected to USB PD and external power 13.8 volts or external power 13.8 volts only, you can receive and transmit with the battery installed or not. But if the battery is installed and you are charging, it will stop charging the battery when sending. Confusing, right? So here are the specifications from the Affinity, I'm not sure how you say that, charging station, but it has various input and output settings for USB-C female and male. That's those designations there. We're concerned about the output. So if you look at these, all of them have a 12 volt 1.5 amps. So this would be the USB-A output. So that's 18 watt max. That's not going to be enough for us. Now the USB-C output female, and that is the one that is on the front of the radio, it will do 15 volts at 3 amps and deliver 45 watts max, which would charge the radio. And then we could also use the input, the USB-C male input, to charge the Affinity power station at the same time. Down here you can see the USB-C male output, which is that retractable cable that we looked at, can do 15 volts, 3 amps out at 100 watts max. And that's probably how we'll be charging the station most of the time. So you might say, hey, will this thing charge the full battery? And what I did is some calculations here. So watt hours equals voltage times capacity, which is your amp hours. And the voltage of the Yaesu battery is 10.8 volts. The capacity is 6,400 milliamps, which gives us 6.4 amp hours. When we go ahead and do the math, the watt hours is 69.12 watt hours, give or take. The specifications listed on the Amazon, the sales page, I'll have that link below for the Affinity station, says it is 99.2 watt hours. And if you take a look at that, they calculate that by 31,000 milliamps at 3.2 volts. And if you do the math, it comes out to 99.2 watt hours. Here's just a quick picture I was rolling in of the Aferiy power station charging, and I was just using a simple USB charger that went into what looked like a PD, and I'm sure it is because it's got 29 watts. But I was charging at 29 watts, and it gave me a time display of 1.7 hours, which is cool. Now I could charge this higher and get this done faster, but you can see there's also an output monitor on here as well. Pretty exciting stuff, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the Yaesu radio, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this battery off. So in order to do that, you pull this tab up and then you slide and the battery comes off. Let me just set this down like this. Hopefully I don't damage anything. But here you can see the battery. Over here, where is it? We have this little rubber grommet that you can pop open, and you see our USB-C female input. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, I'm going to pull it out, and then I'm just going to plug it in and see what happens. Now this battery is not fully charged, and what you can see is the power station actually comes on, and then you can see that it is charging. Right now it's charging at 10 watts output. So if it needs 45, maybe it draws more at a lower one. And here the light is glowing red because we saw that it will glow red when it's charging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this baby out, and then I'm going to come over here to the radio, and I'm going to open this thing up here if I can figure it out. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug it in there and see what happens. And I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm taking forever to do this. So there it is plugged in, and it said you could do this without the battery attached and you could receive. And then you can see the Yaesu radio is powering up. So I'm assuming that is a good thing as well. I'm going to turn this back off because I don't like connecting and disconnecting things when it's on. I think that's a bad idea. And then here, just line up these tabs with those slots. Once you line them up, slide it, and it's locked in. Let's go back over here. Plug in, take a look at this device, and you can see it's charging. Right now 11 watts are coming out. Let's turn this thing on. And there was a spike here where it went up to 15, it looked like, but now it looks like it's settled around 10. But if you look at the screen of the Yaesu in the upper corner here, it's charging the battery while we're receiving. So that's pretty cool. The last thing, let me turn this off because I'm going to disconnect everything again, that I wanted to cover is that I wanted to be able to charge the Aferiy power station while I was using the output. And so here's an output or an input. I could probably charge here too at the same time. And it said that you wanted to use a PD cable. So I'll link these below. This is Anchor cables that I just bought. I have other Anchor cables, but what I wanted to notice here is if you take a look at it, these are 6-foot, 100-watt cables. So let me go ahead and open this up. We have two cables here. Let me just open one of these up real quick. And I'm going to connect this to the front of the power station. And because we have the battery already attached to the radio, we're going to just go ahead and plug that in. And the power station comes on, and let's see what it says. And it's drawing around 11 watts like it was before. So let me flip this down. You can see the red light here is lit solid. I'm assuming that means it's charging. You can see the red light is lit on the battery. I'm assuming that is charging. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see if it powers up. It powers up, and then here you can see it's displaying that the battery's charging. All right, one last thing. Let me turn this off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the power cable, and I'm going to disconnect the battery. Okay, and let's see if we can find this baby up here. And I'm going to connect it, and the power station comes on, and the light comes on that it's charging. So it might be the solution for you. It might not be the solution for you, but I'm pretty glad I have it, and I'm pretty excited about using this in the future. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or recommendations, go ahead and post them below, and I'll do my best to respond. As always, thank you for watching.